not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell's one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Up against it from the word go. It's in-game live. We're happy to have you here. We've got a Monday night doubleheader. They're already running plays down there. I'm looking up at the top.
Yeah.
Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, Joe Lisi, Minnesota, Chicago, DRS. You make your Monday night debut for tonight. You've been here all season long. What a great job. No, but it's your debut. Well, you
good to be here.
You usually get to see the people before, giving a little taste of your action.
Yeah.
So just try and run it quickly. Chicago, Minnesota, what do you love?
I do think Minnesota wins this game. Obviously wasn't willing to lay the 7.5 points in this game. I do think we get points, but focused on how good Sam Darnold has been. I like him over 2 touchdown passes in this game. I think that works out. So I would like to have a running mate tonight, which means Chicago, come out, be competent on offense, push it. And also, from a fan perspective, Kevin and I are Eagles fans tonight. Wouldn't so much matter Chicago Bears win tonight in the Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know if they get the win. I'm with you in terms of the points. I've been on Minnesota over this little run here in back-to-back games. They get the victory over Atlanta. But the last time they played, Kev, that was the total that I picked. Remember, 30-27 in Soldier Field. I like the way Caleb looked in terms of the second half of that matchup. It was the first game that Thomas Brown was calling plays for the Chicago offense. They got involved in a late rhythm. I expect it to continue here with, the playoffs out of the equation. And we expect Sam Darnold to put up numbers. I don't know if he throws for 346 and 5 touchdowns, but I do expect Minnesota to move the ball. I'm on the over tonight. 43.5, alternate as high as 49.5. Took J.J. Jefferson. He only had 27 yards receiving the first time they met. Took him to 70+. But I do feel Justin Jefferson, J.J. There you go.
Had me for a second.
There you go. Yeah, I got you. And Caleb up to 275. I think he could break out tonight.
All right, now, Lisi, talk to me here. 4th and 1. Inside their own 40.
This is great, though.
But it's the right decision.
It is.
Donnie, if you were on the over, you're rooting for a stuff or a get?
It actually doesn't matter because I'd rather Chicago score, but either way you win at this point. These are what you love, and you're supposed to do this as a team with a young offensive coordinator.
Did he get it?
Stop. I don't think he got that there.
That was
there
a bad call.
No.
Why are they pitching it
But
deep?
hold on. But did you see the play before it, though? Caleb Williams was in the pocket with plenty of time and just decided, you know what, I'm going to run it straight up the middle and basically get no yards at that point. That's a tough call because a slow-developing play always gives a chance for the defenders to get ready.
Man.
That's a great tackle. And by the way, Swift, you got to get a yard
Could he
out of
dive?
Yeah.
I mean, do
come
something.
on.
I mean, sell
Get in the
yourself.
weight room.
Unbelievable. Bad
Now,
call.
what are you upset about there? What do we have?
I'm upset to see the sweep. Although today I was playing a game of college football and run a 4th and 1 on the goal jet sweep, so maybe that's kind of my own
jet
pain.
sweep. That's,
Jets. I thought I'd have him moving side to side.
He
Tulane
pitched
don't miss. I was Tulane. I pulled the upside out there.
Yeah, we have to play in the offseason.
No, I'd love to. Listen, you stop by the house. But I'll just say, I think you're right. Like, I wanted to bash the play call.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure DeAndre Swift has to be able to hit that hole and score.
Come on.
Like, that's a really, really bad job out of him. Lisi, most important question of the night, maybe. The icy whites for Minnesota.
Yeah, I just because of my distance right now, and I'm near side, I feel like I'm looking at the Colts play.
Wait a second.
I don't like them.
You can't be closer to this TV
no,
than anybody.
I'm not.
And you're
I'm
trying to play it off as you're looking somewhere on the wall. Like
no, I'm near side. I mean, it just from the distance, it looks like the Colts and the Bears are playing right now. I don't like it. I don't like it. No good. Throw it deep.
Baby D.
I got to tell you, sometimes you can just tell right away. And now I know for sure that we're in for one of our best nights of the year.
Think so?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen in these games.
I mean, the show opened up, Kevin. Like, we had a highlight for Kirk Cousins. I thought it was like a mid-play. Like, we get started late at this point. Like, I had no idea what's going on.
The show opened up with Lisi thinking that Joe Mauer came before Mike Piazza.
Right. Yeah. We're talking baseball before the show.
Chris Winkie, the guy never
Dan Kendrick.
Dan Kendrick.
There you go.
Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big boy.
He was. Should have went to Penn State.
Turned to fullback. All right. We're talking baseball before the
Thad
show. I'm in
Busby.
football mode.
Remember Thad Busby?
Yes.
I can't believe you said, look, with the distance, it's tough to tell.
Oh, my goodness.
Meanwhile, you will spend the next 3.5 hours going, is that Corum? Go! Like, oh, that's
so
unbelievable.
right away, right out of the get-go, this is the Bash Lisi Joe segment, right? This is
Monday's doubleheader.
Monday's doubleheader. Let's bash them. You know what?
Twice
I like the
action.
pace here right now. Now, the second game, the other one, Atlanta and Las Vegas, good luck and God bless, because I don't have a feel I would be inclined to take the points with Las Vegas. Do lean to the under, but I don't love it.
Donnie.
He's always had an affinity for Vegas.
As Will Riker to Alabama, great.
Yeah.
He is.
He is,
phenomenal.
I know. Yeah.
Listen, a little
Consistent.
respect, please. The
kiss
greatness
the ring?
of Milrow rubbed off on the kid makes it big time. 3-0 there. Donnie, I know that you have actually very strong opinions on Atlanta, Vegas.
Yes. If there's one way you want to get your offense right, and I remember a couple weeks ago, Kansas City went out there and said, you know what, Mahomes has been really struggling. He's not going to struggle against Vegas, and he didn't here. You're looking at a football team that's now officially out of it. The better players are waving the white flag, getting into the offseason. You have Tom Brady, who's a partial owner, going, I'm going to pick the quarterback here. You know what he's not going to pick, Joe? Outside the top 5 or 6, which means your job tonight is to lose this football game, Antonio Pierce, if you want to have a piece of this franchise in the future and still be the head coach. You want to rally the troops and win this football game? That's not happening tonight. Kirk Cousins, who hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in 4 games, which is hard to believe versus anybody he plays, this is the perfect tonic. The worst secondary in the NFL is on Oakland now, Joe, without their best pass rusher. They should move the ball unlimitedly against them.
They should. He threw for 344 last week, put up 21 points in the loss to Minnesota. The problem I have is the identity right now. I don't know if they cover this line. They'll probably win, but I would be inclined to take the points with the Las Vegas Raiders playing with house money. You have Des Ridder facing off against his former team. I like Brock Bowers tonight to break out. The total is interesting because, again, we get a scoreless first 8-9 minutes and we get into the high 30s. That's an area where I think I'd want to jump in. Pre-kick, I don't want to jump in at 43.5. I want to see how they play it, want to see how consistent Des Ridder looks under center, and then maybe we can make an assessment. But early on, this is a team in Atlanta, backs against the wall, like Donnie said, and they've lost 4 straight. Just can't back them as a 5.5-point road favorite right now.
I am on I'll use the Atlanta running mate, Donnie. I took a Vegas team total at 19.5 to the over. I didn't want to grab points because Atlanta could score 100 tonight.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to take just a straight over because I think Cousins throws 2 touchdowns tonight. I think they can do their thing. I just want to fade the Falcons' defense. They've allowed 11 of 13 opponents to score 20-plus points. That's what I'm looking for tonight out of Las Vegas. That's really what I trust the most in this game.
And also, we always try to take a look at what's that game plan should be. Like we just told you, Chicago Bears basically out of it. Hey, 4th and 1, let's punt. maybe if it's the third week of the season, you're 2-1, you're on the road, you don't want to get started off on a bad situation on your own 39-yard line, but tonight you see them go for it. It's the same thing with the Vegas Raiders for me tonight. You are going to play a little bit more free. You're going to maybe have a fake punt here. You're going to take some deep shots. You want to find out we have in Ritter. Can he not be, obviously, the starting quarterback next year, but can he be a part of your future as at least a backup here? You want him to show you something. And the same thing we talk about with Atlanta. You should be able to go up and down the field. I understand Kirk Cousins hasn't had a great year, but this is a game that you should be able to get after. And by the way, Bijan Robinson playing extremely well over the past couple weeks. 23 yards tonight on the ground, gets his first 1,000-yard season, will be a major player tonight. Also took a piece late because I do think Atlanta's going to be winning this game. One of my parlays does have Tyler Algier over 20 yards, so I got a couple different directions, Joe. I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, had a good game last week in the second half against Minnesota. Big run to at least put them in scoring position. The problem that I have with back in Atlanta, Kev, is just knowing how hot Tampa Bay is in terms of 8-6 overall now, and they're in the lead in terms of the NFC South. There's pressure on Kirk Cousins, right? There's pressure on this team. People thought that they would step up last week against his former team. What are you going to get against a dead team? Are they going to play down to the level of competition, or are they just going to come out and break out 14-0, 21-0, and, just lights out in the first half? That's the concern I have.
Excited to break that game down. Also, we just saw DJ Moore get an end around. I thought maybe Chicago would start that drive throwing. It was plus 280 for a completed pass, but the books expected run at minus 120. That's exactly what it was. We are going to be getting that second game in the mix as we watch, of course, Bears-Vikings throughout here on SportsGrid.
Sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're back with you right here on SportsGrid. Donnie, Bears moving the football.
Yeah, let's go Bears. Good little drive here after that, 4th and 1 on your own 39, not getting it. The defense rose up, held them to a long field goal, which they made, and now the Bears coming back on offense. And what we're seeing, too, is some interesting play calls, which is what you want to do as a young offensive coordinator / head coach to make your ground. You win this game 13-9, yeah, they're going to like it. You win this game 37-30, hey, I can call an offense, Joe.
Well, think about this. First game last week in terms of the head coaching duties, right? Maybe a little nervous, taking on the full responsibility, playing a team in terms of San Francisco that needed the game. And maybe, now all of the jitters are out. So now you're getting more consistency out of Thomas Brown, getting back to where he was a few weeks ago when this game played out, and they lost it by 3. Again, they utilized a lot of sweeps in terms of that matchup as well in the second half. They got back into the mix, but the defense was all over Caleb Williams, and he found ways to distribute the football. I mean, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen had big days in terms of the matchup in Soldier Field. I'm expecting it to continue. And Caleb can't hold the football, though. You can't hold the football as long as he did in terms of that last possession. You have to throw it deep, get it out, can't take sacks, put your team in a position to at least score points. I think they cover this number, Kev.
All right. Look, we'll see. I as well took those 7 points when it comes to the Chicago Bears, but you can't stall out in the red area. Certainly going to hurt the total, Lisi. Yeah. I think you have a game now where if this ends up being a field goal, you're going to get a depressed number, despite – 3 possessions and multiple scoring possessions, but, Minnesota, given that short of a field, they didn't get a first down, right? Sam Darnold didn't complete a pass, and if Chicago gets down here now and can't turn it into points, I think the total will go not a lot lower, but a little bit.
Yeah, probably break 40, right? Maybe you see 39.5, 38.5 creep into the market, but, again, when you have a hot quarterback like Sam Darnold, right, you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison had a breakout performance against the Bears last time. That was major. You're going to get an opportunity to have sustained drives with points, right? So we'll see. Strip sack right there. That's been a huge cause of concern for the Chicago Bears offense. But, again, they fall behind now 6-0, 7 or 10-0 in this matchup. Then that forces a lot in terms of the passing attack. That could open up maybe props here.
By the way, left tackle was out tonight, I believe. Starting left tackle for the Chicago Bears makes a big difference there. Looks like that was going to go. A little Van Ginkel touchdown got stopped. So on the way, the Minnesota Vikings may be opening this game up. Good field position once again, already up 3-0. And also talking about the Minnesota Vikings coming into this game with a little bit extra juice as they now control their own destiny in the NFC for the number 1 seed. They went out. There's nothing anybody else can do. They'll be the number 1 seed.
And they square off against Detroit next week?
No, the regular season finale is Detroit.
Right. And now with Montgomery out, that's going to put a lot of pressure on
the Packers next week?
I think Seattle. I think they play Seattle, Green Bay, and Detroit to close it out, though. So not easy for Minnesota at all. That strip sack fumble did stand. The line is 12.5 now already in game. Total goes to 44.5. Perhaps benefited from a nice run to start the drive from Aaron Jones there. Let me ask you guys a question on. I know it might sound like a hindsight thing, but the Bears taking Rome Odunze opposed to an offensive lineman inside the top 8 when they already had DJ Moore, right, which was a big thing for that team to, acquire DJ. You knew they had signed Keenan Allen. I understand Rome Odunze was supposed to be special, but do you think that was one of those decisions where maybe they got a little too caught up in the flash and looked past what had been a weakness for them for some time?
I think part of it was the fact that Eberflus was on the hot seat to begin with, right? The fact that they gave him the vote of confidence at the end of the regular season last year and they moved on from Justin Fields. The whole thing was an MO of Chicago's that they didn't have elite wide receiver talent to put around Justin Fields, and they needed to upgrade that position. So why not with Rome Odunze and the fact that he played in the semifinal playoff game, national champion, put up good numbers against better defenses? It would be a great fit for Caleb Williams. I think that's why they decided to do it. But the offensive line is atrocious right now. Last few weeks, he's been getting battered.
Well, he holds on to the football a long time. It's almost like when you equate to what you watch for Shedeur Sanders in college. Like, hey, I'm going to hold on to it. Joe Burrow does the same thing because you want those wide receivers to get the extra second out there to try to get open. I don't mind it because when you have a young quarterback, you surround him with as many weapons as you can possibly get for as many wide receivers to make plays to build confidence early, and then you see a couple years down the road, maybe you don't need all those great wide receivers because the quarterback can make the play for himself like we're seeing with Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. Hey, you can't get rid of Diggs and get young wideouts. You see what he's doing this year? I don't mind it at all, but yes, you need a better game plan to say, kid, you got to get rid of the football, man. You can't just get sacked all these times. That wear and tear hurts.
But I think sometimes, Donnie, you have play styles, and Caleb's play style is extend. Look, I'm gonna dance back here a little bit. But that goes both ways. So, okay, maybe then I need a better offensive line, or let me get some superstars he can build that relationship with. I'm not crushing the Rome Odunze pick necessarily. I'm just saying I think we knew Chicago needed offensive line as well, and it was very rare to see a team triple down like that at the wide receiver position, right? If you look at Arizona brought in Marvin, or the Giants who brought in Malik Neighbors, was because those teams had nothing around them, right? Rome Odunze, we walked into Chicago and we were like, oh, yeah, I mean, he's not even close to going to be the number one wide receiver on the football team.
Yeah.
In time, maybe he emerges as that, but I don't know. We're watching this now.
Well,
we're going to see this team, Lisi in mock drafts,
right,
taking offensive line, I feel like, in every single one.
That's most likely right. You can't have your quarterback get battered. Part of it is, to Donnie's point, he does hold on to the ball a little bit too long.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where he exactly wants to go sometimes with the reads and progressions. I think a part of it, too, why they took Odunze with the draft is Keenan Allen's been banged up, right? Even though you have Keenan over the past few years, he hasn't been healthy. First year in Chicago, maybe it was more of a safety blanket and just reassurance in case he went down and they were making a playoff run. You have a young wide receiver that could be there for the next 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, just don't get the kid killed. Hopefully you get an offensive head coach next year that's been around the block multiple years and knows how to scheme an offense, and not just say, hey, let Shane Waldron / my defensive coordinator head coach then hand it over to a guy who's never called plays before with my franchise quarterback. Let's be smart about this, Chicago. Come on.
All right, we are going to be running up against the break here. When we get back, the game between the Falcons and the Raiders will join us, and we will get to see if the Minnesota Vikings are able to punch it in with their second short field on their second drive of this game. We'll be right back here. It is Sports Grid with you for a Monday night doubleheader.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on Sports Grid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill, then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on Sports Grid.
All right, we're with you right here on Sports Grid. Let's see if we can make some decisions for you, because it is now 10-0 for the Minnesota Vikings. Darnold with a passing touchdown caught by Justin Jefferson. Aaron Jones is running incredibly well in this game right now. 4 carries for 28 yards, a long of 13. So it's not just kind of one carry, it's every carry right now. We look at this drive now for Chicago. 5 minutes to go here, Donnie. They haven't punted yet.
Yeah.
Yet we're sat here in a 10-0 game. Any expectations for the drive?
Expectations, hopefully they can move the football and stay in this game. But at the same time, you're now down 10-0 on the road. The crowd's in a fever. As we said, controlling your own destiny for Minnesota. You get Sam Darnold with another touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. Now he's finding the end zone time and time again. It doesn't look good. You just still want to stay within your game plan, though. You don't have to drop back. It doesn't have to be shotgun, 7-step drops, go deep here. Protect your quarterback, move the football, because they did on that last drive. They just didn't come away from points from that turnover. So for me, stick with the game plan, Joe. Don't get over your heels.
Yeah, and two players I look at for Chicago in terms of this drive and beyond, just numbers-wise, Cole Kmet, 24.5. If he's going to be under pressure this whole game, checkdowns underneath to Kmet, I think he can get that. And then I'm still high on Keenan Allen. He's got 4 yards on the night, 50.5. I still think he can get right through that, 60, 70. I think he's the guy outside of DJ Moore. I think DJ will lead tonight, but I think you're getting more value on Keenan underneath.
I am now going to try and put eyes on the Caleb Williams rushing prop.
Okay.
It's currently at 22.5. He has the 2 yards from the one scramble. Last 4 games, 27, 39, 33, and 70. If you look in his last 9 games, he's at 23+ in 7 of the 9. So that becomes a tempting number for me. And those are numbers where, in my opinion, I think you guys would agree, the more you get down, the more the rushing quarterback comes into play a little bit, where the books just look, we drop it based on production, right? Like they'll shoot a passing number up if a guy's not, if they're trailing because they go, he's got to throw. I don't feel, Donnie, they shift rushing quarterback numbers like that. I'm not going to bet it on this drive, but especially if they end up punting, I'm going to look for that Caleb Williams rushing prop.
You know, it's an interesting point on Caleb Williams, too, because even as a young quarterback, heck, even a veteran quarterback, if that pressure is getting home to you early, you're feeling it a little bit earlier, maybe you go through your first progression, your second, don't make the third, I'm out of the pocket and I'm running, because he does have some wheels. We'll see if that does play out at this point, but hopefully Chicago still stays a little bit basic and just gets a couple first downs to try to move the chains.
Divisional game, I'm inclined to take the 14.5. I mean, maybe I'm crazy. I mean, again, I'm not suggesting they win. But 2 touchdowns, I mean.
I agree. Look, they were down 16-0 to Detroit. They nearly won that football game. I don't think Chicago's done here, Lisi. I'll be honest. The reason I'm not running to the 14.5 is mainly it's a little expensive at -135. But I actually don't feel bad about my 7 right now. I don't. Chicago hasn't punted yet. It's not like, they're lost. They just, couldn't get DeAndre Swift through a hole on a short one. And a strip sack fumble where certainly, you need Caleb to be better. But look, I haven't even seen the Bears' defense look bad. It's not look great, but it's not look poor in short fields.
Right. So if they could do that the rest of the way, and still, you still have the opportunity. Put it down that they're down 17 or 20, right? You still have the ability to backdoor it with a late touchdown. That's the way I think. I don't think they're going to lose this game the way they did to San Francisco, 38-10, in terms of that regard. I think we'll get a much better effort on prime time. The fact that they did match up pretty well with them the first meeting. 14.5 to me seems like a bit too much.
Another first down, though, so moving the football as we had. I think it was back-to-back plays on the ground. And by the way, DJ Moore getting some carries tonight at running back over the first quarter here. We'll see if that continues, or maybe Swift being a little bit banged up. They don't want to have too much wear and tear over him. But I like the start of the drive. Keep it on the ground, maybe working some play action, because those wide receivers should be able to get some depth against those DBs.
Yeah.
It's an interesting approach, though, to have 3 carries, but the third carry there, I didn't realize that was him. I mean, that was a pure
running back.
Running back play.
Yeah. Trying to get your best players involved. So I like the young coordinator saying, you know what, got to get the football into his hands as many times as possible. Just give the defense something extra to think about.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive. I truly would have. I just back. I didn't even.
A.J. Brown in the backfield. Ooh. Nice.
Don't get me started, man. I just can't. I'll just say this. We may talk about some other stuff, big picture later. But, Sirianni's in the locker room. How about that passing game? It's like, you're quoting A.J. Brown, right? Like, you're not quoting some guy, in the media that was throwing your team under the bus. It is number 11 standing right there in the locker room. That started all this.
Whoa, Batman, don't mess with him. It's going to get you every time.
Well, is he happy now, you think?
Till next week. Second quarter, no targets. Upset.
I still would ice them out.
By the way, 1 o'clock, Washington Eagles next week. I mean, what happened? What happened in this world?
Well, again, the Bills are back to being the Super Bowl champs before they actually even make the Super Bowl. That's where we are once again. All right, big third down for the Bears. We'll see what we got on the other side. Got nothing.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Back at the right here, it is in-game live, and we are underway finally in Vegas. I'll be honest, they kind of pump-faked me a few times. I'm like, oh, here we go, here we go. Donnie, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Again, I know you're Falcons up, but Desmond Ridder, the fact that he's going tonight as opposed to Aiden O'Connell or even Gardner Minshew, much of a change to you?
Not much of a change, but again, if you're going to play AOC, let's just say, and he's like, hey, I'm ready to go, but my knee still hurts and I can't move around, at least you're getting a somewhat athletic kid in the pocket who has made starts in his NFL career and also going up against his old team, so he certainly wants to make an impact. I don't know how much that impact is going to be just because they're devoid of talent, basically, across the board. He can't play defense for them, and that's where the matchup comes for me. But Ridder starting tonight, I don't have an issue with it. I'm not looking at him saying, like, hey, oh, no, it's Tim Boyle starting a football game, so.
Yeah, best defense sometimes is your offense, and I don't think Las Vegas can get into a shootout with Kirk Cousins, so maybe they do look to run the football just a little bit more. Brock Bowers, I think, is an option. We saw him get involved in regards to that play, but also Ridder as well in terms of the RPO game, has 14.5. But again, total-wise, I'm a little lenient to back the over here just because, again, their defense is bad. They've lost high-scoring games. The games that they've been within margin are lower-scoring the way they played with Aiden O'Connell and they played down to Kansas City, right? 19-17, lower-scoring game. I know we threw for 300, but again, I still think they don't want to get into a shootout with Kirk Cousins at home.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, their best moments, though, were actually watching O'Connell kind of let it fly within that game. We get now our...
Here we go. Almost the same thing.
That's kind of what I was saying. Really a carbon copy of a third and short run that somehow doesn't pick up the first down, leaving a sub-500 football team, no decision but to go for
Gotta
it.
go for it.
Although I say that with some hesitation because Antonio Pierce is insane. So I just want to make sure that I see that.
He might have the quarterback punted out of shotgun. Surprise.
What happened to the quarterback sneak?
They're getting paid too much. Go, Ridder.
Made that one hard.
But my point, Don, that does not have a better conversion rate than a quarterback sneak.
It doesn't. And especially when you're a team that doesn't do it all that often. You're not lined up in the Philadelphia Eagles tush-push. You just hike it and fall forward. Like we always used to say, like one of the slowest guys in the NFL was Tom Brady, but the absolute best of all time until you saw Jalen Hurts at the quarterback sneak. Always got the yard he needed.
Well, again, I think
in shotgun.
They didn't want to risk these quarterbacks getting stepped on in the pile, and that's when it stopped. That's really when it stopped, is when the quarterbacks started making so much money, they became a valuable commodity, and they just didn't even do the sneak anymore.
I don't know. See, I know Mahomes doesn't do it because he did it once. Broke his kneecap. Yeah. He came back. So, like, Kansas City is, I'm not even trying to, like, be mean. They are too scared to do it.
Okay.
Like, but, I don't know. Josh Allen does QB sneaks. Brock Purdy does QB sneaks. But the league, look, the Eagles started the tush push, and everybody around the league was like, we got to do that. It's a cheat code. Then a lot of them found out, wait,
do it.
It actually isn't that easy if you don't have X, Y, or Z involved in the play. But teams have not then figured out, I could just still do the quarterback sneak, which was around for 2 decades, and that works flawlessly almost every time.
You know what I love now real quick about the quarterback sneak? You saw it yesterday again in the Steelers game, and it happens all the time. The Steelers can line up in the Eagles' backfield, and there's no offsides or encroachment.
Madness.
But if you line up on a regular play, you got to be a yard and a half off the ball. Crazy.
By the way, down here at the bottom, half shaven points? No, I'm kidding.
We didn't get one of these.
Hold on a second. Aaron Jones, I thought, extended well beyond the line there on an almost 3rd and 17 conversion there, Lisi. Instead, brings up, 4th and 2 and likely a punt.
Yeah, again, we'll see. Where was the ball when he went out of bounds? Yeah, he did step out. It was a good call.
Was it?
Yeah,
I think so.
I saw his toe.
They did. Yep, there you go. Expedited, Joe, first down. That was the right call.
Quarter number 1 does come to a close. Vikings up 10-0.
It's the right call.
That's good.
Firing it in there, Lisi.
He looks good early on. No jitters, right? I mean,
revenge
passing game working well.
Short to intermediate, lower scoring. That's it. Take about 7 minutes off the drive.
That's how you ruined
now,
the
was that
drive.
Jacoby Myers? Yeah. I think it was a former quarterback in high school.
Yeah, he better go back to high school with that play.
You got to get rid
throw
of
it away,
like, what are
kid.
you doing?
I don't like that play to ruin the drive?
I love the play call. I don't understand how Jacoby Myers took a sack.
Let's see. Do we have an open guy? Slow play.
But it's not. First of all, if you do that and you get picked,
yes,
you are completely absolved.
Yes.
The only thing you cannot do
is do what he did.
Is get cracked. Mm-hmm. Like, you are completely free of blame. 2nd and 20 run.
Come on. Now, what are you saying now? Who's the OC? Joe, who's the OC out there?
Apparently a guy Bill Belichick wants to hire. I think they said Scott Turner, isn't it?
I think Josh McDaniel's still out there.
Did you see Belichick got his first commit?
Did he?
Center from Holy Cross.
Wow.
Yeah. They're going to run it. They said that all they want to try and find is offensive lineman and a quarterback. I think ultimately, if you are North Carolina, you have to imagine that he will handle the defense. Like, no matter who is out there, warm bodies, guys that are of the usual North Carolina level. Mm-hmm. Like, if they don't have one of the 5 best defenses in the ACC, like, then Robert Kraft might come out and, like, say something, be like, I told you.
They ran it on 3rd and 20.
You had to. And they fumbled.
Awesome. Clown.
All right. Clown show.
And the running back's hurt, is he?
Outstanding.
Who was that? McCormick? Who was that?
Sincere?
I thought Madison.
Was he down or not?
Ran the ball.
Partying?
Is that Abdullah?
Yeah, looks like a shoulder, Joe. Looks like it's going to be a tough scene out here for the
it's not
Raiders.
McCormick. I know that much.
Wasn't Abdullah.
No?
Looked like a number in the 20s at that point here. Good stop by the Falcons.
It was Alexander Madison there.
Oh.
Sets Atlanta up. And
forgot about Madison.
I can't.
Let's see. The big helmet got in there. Oh, clear fumble, too.
Like, obviously it's not personal. I need Antonio Pierce to be fired. I can't watch this. I can't. It drives me crazy.
They're playing for him, though.
No, they're not.
They play for him. That's what I told.
They got hot at me the other day online because I called for the South Alabama coach's job.
Oh, wow.
No, listen.
People were watching it?
Yeah, I was watching it because we were getting involved, DRS. But, look, here's the thing, man. You are never going to get to where your ultimate goal is if your coach is this far behind the 8 ball. Your quarterback starts a game 3 for 3 for 15 yards. He's not lighting the world on fire. Mm-hmm. But if you end up in 2nd and 20 and you run it on 2nd down, you might as well punt.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, too, and DRS, you've made this point countless times, man, like, is you get a penalty, cheat code, first down, that it's stealing. But you are never going to get that penalty if you run it on 2nd and 20 and 3rd and 23. It's just, That is losing football. You're already 2-11. It's the first quarter. Play real football, man.
No, you're right about it. There's no complaints other than that didn't work, and did you expect it to work at that point? Look, being aggressive at midfield with a team that's going nowhere, I don't mind it here. But maybe being aggressive on a flea flicker where the quarterback gets the football back in the hand and goes, okay, I get a deep shot or I throw it away. Not the wide receiver who almost probably fumbled also on that play to make it 2nd and 20.
But don't you want to make an assessment on Ritter at all? Put the ball in his hands and allow the kid to cook a little bit. I don't understand. You let Aiden O'Connell throw it all over the yard when he was in there. If you don't have any confidence, and I understand maybe O'Connell's a little bit banged up, but still, he's an NFL quarterback. Do you want to keep him on the roster or not? He should be chucking it at least 20, 25 times in terms of this matchup.
And then that, again, but to me, it's just also like, what kind of football are you trying to play? Football from 2004?
Yeah.
All right, guess what?
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You're drawn dead. If you're walking in and that's what you're bringing to the table, you're drawing dead. You can dislike the way Dan Campbell calls it all you want. That guy's going to get a lifetime contract in Detroit. You cannot play football like this. You've got a driving Vikings and an in-striking distance Atlanta after this break.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here. I just sunk down even more in-game live.
Just rose up.
Are you standing?
I think I might be.
I think the RS is standing.
It's hard
Wow.
to get this 6'3" body in this chair. Come on.
Are we in Paris at the Olympics?
First
Here?
of all,
What's going
Kevin's
on?
way too low at the desk. He sets the entire thing off right now. He's way too low.
I mean, yeah, but should we do stand grid? I can stand.
You want the
You wanna
Army
stand and
Corps
get the
of
mojo
Engineers
going?
to come in and
Huh?
should we have the Army Corps of Engineers come in and set the
But it's true, though. Just Army, Navy. By the way, Joe, on the way home yesterday, passed the Army buses coming back with an escort.
Oh,
whoa.
Yeah, ARMY with the exclamation point. Yeah.
There it is. Oh, he dropped
Justin Jefferson dropping coin. Whoa. Not good. Not good.
We have any Justin Jefferson angles here tonight?
I have 70 plus.
Yeah, who's going to get
that? I don't know. After that,
come on, JJ.
He's so talented. He's like this is not my fault. Like, what's wrong with these guys? Because I know that.
Does he get new gloves when he goes off the field?
Another sack for Kirk Cousins up top. Did you see that?
Keep him in the game.
Unbelievable.
Out of field goal range, too, I think.
Bang under all of a sudden up top.
Yeah.
Wow, we haven't had the Russian roulette all of a sudden here. Honestly, like, you're playing such a gutless Raiders team, I'd go for this. Like, why not?
You know, the field goal kicker, by the way, in a dome that can make that either. Young Wei, Koo.
It would be what?
How does Cousins keep making the same? Like, every time we watch one of these Cousins games, he does something where you're like, well, you can't do that. And it's like,
he does.
Well, he's like a decade-plus veteran.
I do think it's one of the most frustrating football plays from a fan perspective or a betting perspective when everybody lines up on that play goes, okay, it's third down here. If it's an incomplete pass, it's the only thing you can't do is take a sack, and they just sit on a sack at that point.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's crazy. He does the internal clock. That's when you say he's washed up. Can see the punches coming. Can't get out of the way.
Yeah, 55-yarder, by the way, in a dome. Like, now we're good. Is that just because they probably think that the Raiders are so bad?
Yeah, I think Raheem Morris feeling the
Where did the punt? I didn't even see. Where did the punt go, by the way?
End zone.
Oh, love that, too.
So
they did not. I didn't realize they were that close.
Yeah. 55-yard field goal.
When we turn that game off, like, would anybody be against it? I can't watch that if that's what we're doing. Like, that's not an enjoyable product.
So let's watch this fourth down.
Call it. Go. Play by play.
Donnie, you missed it. The analytics said to kick.
Oh,
you've been asking
really?
for that.
Wow.
Yeah. Whoa. What do you think?
Look at this.
Who's that? Dan Campbell over there making the play calls?
What do you think? Why would that be Dan Campbell?
Because he'd mess it up. He just doesn't know. Woo! Here we go. They're down. Right. Chicago Bears.
Kills the over.
Now,
who had the over? What did
I
you
have the over.
How much?
43.5.
All right.
Well.
Nah,
but that's good, though. You want the Bears to be in the game. We have juice. We're on pace. You get 20 points by the half total, you're still in it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be on pace.
Not pace, slightly off. 43.5.
Now, what are you doing making the interception?
21?
There's the question.
Hold on. So that's actually what I was about to ask you. Total's down to 39.5.
Not bad.
Donnie,
Still like
if getting a pick is going to cost your team yardage.
I get the pick.
Every time?
Every single time. Like, let me understand this, too, people. If you ever played defensive back before, the end-of-game Hail Mary, your boy's not knocking that pass down. I'm trying to go up and intercept the pass. Like, especially, you see sometimes where the guys have the easy pick, and they just, like, bat it down. Like, ooh, I don't know if I would have made that as a strategy.
I agree.
You ever have an interception, Josh?
Now, what about returning it, Donnie, in the end zone, or, like, take the knee, get the 20 yards? Or would you always take it out and be like, hold on a minute? Like, I maybe can make a special play here.
Yeah, but to be honest, it does depend on the situation. Like, if you're making that interception in the flat, like down by the end zone, it's like, I got one man to beat, you got to go for it. But if it's 8 yards deep where everybody's in front of you, yeah, just sit it down. But we've seen guys run it out to the two.
Did it
what
last night, the kid on Green Bay.
Was it after I went to bed? I don't know.
Sure. Well, yeah, 100% obviously. Come on. So they go for that, which is like the exact opposite of what – so Atlanta went, across the field from us, dead team.
Yeah.
Cool. We won't shoot ourselves. Where Minnesota goes, we're just actually trying to win a football game because we're a real football team. Again, I actually wouldn't have minded had they kicked there, but I certainly don't mind them going for it, Lisi. But a little bit of breathing room for Chicago now where, you get one back.
Yeah, but you have to start to sustain a drive and get back into at least field goal range, get points. I wanted to ask you, in terms of the Raider game, knowing how ugly this game is.
Yeah.
5-8. You want to take a shot on the Raiders outright?
No, thanks.
No, they're not winning this football game. I'm banking that.
Oh, that was a highlight? That was Minshew going down?
Yeah, they're showing all their quarterbacks getting jacked up in one quick scene.
Yeah, it happens. Offensive line's terrible.
What is he? Is he emergency? What is he tonight?
Maybe. He might be the emergency quarterback. I'm not entirely sure. I just, like, that's a...
gosh. How do you drop that?
Make the play. That's Mayer. Notre Dame guy. What's he doing out there?
15.5 was his total.
By the way, I love that kid in college.
He was. He was a touchdown machine.
He was good.
Ian Book was his quarterback.
That's true. Who was the tailback?
That is
Tyron.
a perfect
Was it
throw.
Tyron?
Maybe.
He
Great
just made
ball.
a perfect throw.
Did.
Did it get tipped?
There'll be like none of those.
It did.
the
It
rest
got
of the game.
tipped.
I don't think he was making that play anyway.
Why not?
I don't know. He's,
Hands
who told him to go
close.
down like that?
Wow, that is brutal.
3rd and 11 for the big
Run
boys
it!
here.
You didn't
Bringing
wanna
that heat. Dump down. Smart
No,
play. Abdul.
I'm telling you, we got to turn that game.
Oh,
off.
boy. It's
I
going to
can't
drive
watch
people
this
crazy. We
I
need
can't
juice in
watch
that
this
game.
game.
It's all Atlanta.
Both of these games slow down right now. I like the over in the Minnesota game. Out of both of them, I think that game's going to have juice.
They've already sunk the Raiders-Falcons total underneath where the Bears-Vikings
Yeah,
total
I don't. That's a dead under, but I will take a shot. I think
You have the team total for the Raiders?
Yeah.
What is it?
19.5. Could be 9.5. I already gave up on it. That's how I feel right now.
maybe your defense steps up. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
you
pick 6 wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
It's a good call by you.
Can we get a good number on him right now to throw a
Yeah,
pick?
probably a great number.
On Cousins to throw an
Oh.
interception?
Yeah.
Partially blocked? Yeah. Now, what are you going to do here? Smart move. Get away.
What game was that the other day where?
Dallas.
Yeah.
That was
Making a
Cincinnati.
play.
Look at them all jumping up and down.
Cousins is plus
score.
money for a pick.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think they might score a
We
touchdown
we
or
got a
field goal. Never
profit
have to do
boost
anything
on it,
again.
too. Could we-
Ooh, did get the hands on that.
Let's
Ow.
do it. I'd be inclined to do it.
Bears got a 3rd and 4 down here. Man, we haven't done the doubleheader in a while. We're spinning and winning down. I can't even keep up with this.
Imagine we only had one game tonight. It was the Raiders game. Woo-hoo, boy. Thank
Oh,
goodness we got some action.
We'd be breaking down NBA Cup tomorrow.
That going on?
Yeah. Tickets are hot, according to me, and nothing else. All right, we're taking a break right here. The Chicago Bears offense struggling.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill, then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here, Bears, Vikings. Man, these games are not great, but that's all right. We'll try and make them great. We'll try and find some juice. I mean, this game's almost over down here, the way this thing is moving right now. It feels like the Bears have had the ball all game, yet they're losing 10-0. A roughing the kicker on the punt, DRS was able to extend the drive, so
Not bad right now for Chicago to get a little extra life.
No, they're leaving the door open for you to stay in it when, quite frankly, it could have been a blowout. Justin Jefferson catches that one passer inside the 5 that probably punch it in, and this game will be over for the night. So it's good to see the Bears, and also not getting caught up in, we're down double digits, we're on the road, we have to do something crazy. Just play your game, work it out, don't turn it over, and make the plays you need to. And by the way, they were bailed out on that running into the punter. A terrible play by Caleb Williams, holding onto the football too long, taking a sack here, or obviously not getting a first down close to a sack. We'll see what they do around midfield, get more aggressive.
Yeah, have to get involved in the passing attack. There's Komet that puts them in field goal range. He's got 43 yards now through the air. Caleb Williams, his number was fairly light, 202.5 right before that play. Darnold in the area, 226.5. I still think this game has juice from the total perspective, up to 39.5 now. I think we can go through pre-kick total, Kev, of 44.5. I still think we have a track meet potentially in the second half.
Yeah, I think what you need is a Chicago score.
Yeah, 10-3 or 10-7, you're in it.
The Minnesota 2-minute drill.
How fast is it, me? 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, they've run a lot, and there's been not that many penalties outside the roughing the kicker. I mean, it's been a pretty clean game.
Maybe they're trying to get people to, watch both games or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the move is there, but yeah, you know what it might be, Donnie, too, is the game started 15 minutes earlier than it usually would.
Feels like it's just it's moving around at this point here. Kyle Pitts with a first down catch there, so there you go on the move.
Justin Jefferson's number 47.5. He's got 9. He has the big drop. I got to believe that Donald goes to him in the second half at least once. I mean, we're talking basically.
Is that all his number is right now?
Yeah. 47.5 is light. Now, I will say last game he only had 2 receptions, 27 yards. They didn't game plan him. They game planned Addison. But, I mean, he had an 81.5 number, now down 34 yards.
Wait, last week?
Last time they played. I went through the same process in my
Yeah, I know. It was to me, it's
I
last
know what
week.
you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, hold on. Is that too much knocked off the number?
34. It's almost half.
They're going to get the football back in the 2-minute warning. He's going to get 3 targets.
But think about it. They have a drive coming up. Most likely it's going to be 10-3.
Holding.
Yep.
Right? Or at the very worst, they're going to have a minute and a half on the clock? You don't think he's going to go
sooner than that?
I mean, would you take – let me ask you this. Would you take Addison or would you take Justin Jefferson?
Oh, he's going to fourth. There we go. There's a touchdown pass. And it's London. Woo! By the way, good call, Tom Vecchio, on London scoring a touchdown from earlier today. There you go. Shout out, Tommy.
There you go.
It's a nice shout out.
Yep.
Drake London does score. We'll get you those updated numbers in just a second there. 11.5 spread, 40.5 total, Donnie. Any thought that could open the game up a little?
Again, coming into this, I don't think Atlanta's a very good football team. But you are an Atlanta team that's still hoping to win your division. The Raiders are dead out and actively not trying to win a football game.
Yeah.
I just want to see how that one plays out. That's all. But no, I'm not interested. Put me 7-0 is a massive lead right now against this Raiders offense, which looks like it's absolutely dead in the water. But it's still the Atlanta Falcons. It's not as if they've been putting teams away. And quite frankly, they've been getting shelled as of late. I don't want to jump in on the 11.5, but at the same time, I don't want to say, give me the 11.5, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not running to the 11.5. I actually would rather bet like Ritter over passing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been fine in the moments he's had.
Yeah.
But I'm not running that way. Lisi, I'll tell you for the total, man.
Gotta get it.
You keep getting these swing plays here. They've yet to swing correct for the total. Over.
Yes.
Well,
now
all
they got
swung
a
the unders
fourth
right.
and 1 on the 28, 29 here. Got to get the first down. Got to come away with 7, I believe. If you book the 37.5s and 39s over the past few minutes, you got to get this first down. Got to end it with a touchdown, and then it's game on.
This kid stinks.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh, you got to fight for that. That's brutal. That's brutal.
That's the second time DeAndre Swift. You got to sell yourself.
You know what? I don't. Usually some people say, I don't like the play call. Your quarterback shakes off that first hit. You basically just have to say, well, I go into the weight room in the offseason, I'm going to fall forward. How does he get stopped on that again?
Did he definitely get stopped here?
Yeah, he did, too.
He gets stopped initially.
Right here. You got to get that first down right there. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's, again, another huge swing. This total now drops to 33.5. The Bears have punted once in this game. They have 2 drives of the 4 that have crossed Minnesota territory, and they're about to be shut out in the first half again. We'll be right back on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Right here on SportsGrid. Again, we got 2 games right now where we're kind of fighting for our lives to figure out what's what. The Chicago Bears offense has moved it and stalled. The Falcons that are playing conservative because they know that across the field looks like a team that cannot do much. The quarter ends. Desmond Ridder has 17 passing yards. I mean, just to kind of put this into perspective, your passing yards totals, 17 Ridder, 51 Cousins, 60 for Caleb, and 82 for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, we might not get 500 plus between the 4 quarterbacks, Lisi,
This is
right
why
now.
we needed 2 games on tonight.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
I still think these games could open up. Now, I am shocked that the Atlanta-Vegas total is 40.5, just because of what you've seen from an offensive perspective out of Des Ridder right now, where he's running more than he's thrown. Did throw a couple of nice passes, Donnie, but couldn't connect in terms of Michael Mayer or any big chunk type of plays. So we'll see. Second quarter now, hopefully they open it up. They fall behind, Kev, 10-0, 14-0. Lights out, then they're going to have to open it up, and maybe that total comes in.
I think you want Atlanta to get up a double digits, Joe, because that'll say, okay, end of the running game here for the Oakland Raiders. Just start to air it out. Good things happen, bad things happen, and the bad things, use of turnovers, could lead to easy points the opposite direction. But also, from a Falcons perspective, you want to get your offense underway. Yes, you want to win. You'd like multiple touchdown passes out of Kirk Cousins. The offense moving the football for those vibes over the final couple games to say maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle and try to track down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. So,
all right, here we go. Fourth drive for the Vikings, right? Catch a pass. Addison plus 110. They have Justin Jefferson as the favorite and Hawkinson at minus 110.
I think they score on this drive. Oh, good ball.
Was that a completion?
I think he caught it, though. Yeah, he did.
That was a nice throw.
Yeah.
All right.
So where does it – so keeping up on the Minnesota game, we have, 2-minute warning, and where are they at on the field?
They're at their own 29.
Own 20. I think they score a touchdown.
Nice catch.
The Vikings?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying they're incapable of it. I don't get that feeling. I'm surprised you do, honestly.
2-minute warning is usually where they cook at this point.
I hear you. Jefferson has 7 yards on 5 targets. To put that into perspective.
He dropped that big one. That big one right in the end zone. That was like a 30-yarder. He should have at least 35, 40.
Yeah.
He's been targeted again. Like I said, last time he wasn't really targeted. It was Addison.
Mm-hmm.
But second half adjustments. I want to see what they do. If they score a field goal.
Old score NFL, Joe, in this game, that is incomplete. I think with the lax of the rules now, I think that's a complete pass. He got 2 feet down, got hit, and he lost the football.
And he was running with it.
Yeah,
though.
I think that's a catch.
So
I don't think that should have been a challenge.
Could we take a shot with the 40.5 for the Raider
Dying
game?
to get on that game.
40.5 is 4 points lower than the total you wanted nothing to do with and leaned under. I don't think you're getting enough to jump in.
The reason why I know, but it's just the fact that they're keeping it up here when the game flow has been so methodical that.
But compared to the bottom game, it's the greatest game in the history of the world. All of a sudden,
True.
Just saying,
it's not like both teams. I mean, Sam Darnold's chucking it. He's just not completing.
Oh, we're behind. I'm looking at
he's
throwing it. What's going on? There's JJ right out of the bat.
Yeah, I guess the reason, Lisi, I'll be honest with you, that the JJ stuff doesn't pop to me again. Not that he cannot get there. He already scored. So if we go with the A.J. Brown theory, Jefferson won't be upset going into the locker room if he finishes this game with 35 yards because he scored. You know what I mean? Scored, they win, momentum's fine, right? Where you leave a game with 40 yards and no score,
then
maybe you call out the passing game and you gotta change everything on the fly. Then all of a sudden, so
what happened? They call a timeout in the Minnesota game?
Yep.
Wow, quick burn of the timeout. Okay.
But who called that timeout?
Had to be Minnesota.
Yeah, you're not calling it.
First
Chicago
down?
would call it after this play.
Timeout by Chicago.
They okayed it. Really?
Timeout by Chicago.
All right.
First down? Injury then?
It was 2nd and 12. He threw it underneath.
Oh, yeah, we are far behind that. I actually thought that was the first play.
No, that was the second down. Now we're on it. We're supposedly third down, right? Or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So, please don't look at your computer
Yeah,
when you're trying to tell what down it is.
Boop, boop, boop. Hawkinson getting in the game?
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I give Chicago credit for being aggressive in calling that timeout, but it was a terrible decision.
Yeah, they should.
And that's not even a hindsight thing.
Right.
Let Minnesota call their own timeout. If Minnesota's all that scared about giving you the football, awesome. You would have 3 timeouts if you stopped them on that play.
Correct.
That was a horrendous decision. Interim head coach, da-da-da. Again, you want to be aggressive, show, hey, Caleb, I trust you, but that was a mess.
It was. But again, can they score? Can they get into, striking distance? They're aggressive. It's just they haven't converted.
What kind of number could we see if this is a touchdown drive, Donnie? 17.5? Minnesota would start the second half with the football.
Yes. No, yes. Yeah.
Maybe even 20.5.
Because now you're at the point where Chicago is probably not kicking field goals anymore, and that's going to factor in. So, 17.5. They kick a field goal, 17-30. Stop it. Not kicking any field goals in the second half. Down 3 touchdowns, basically.
I'd love to see a Caleb passing touchdown prop.
They're going to score on this. Minnesota's going to score a touchdown this.
It wasn't super expensive.
Oh, look at that.
Daniel Jones.
Worst players of all time.
EJ.
It's already minus 130 for Caleb to throw a touchdown. That'll probably end up being a halftime wager for me.
To throw a touchdown for Caleb?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just throw.
I want to see the number they give him.
No field goals. There you go, Joe. There you go, Joe.
Get up, baby.
That's
Get up, baby.
That's the numbers.
He got through his 14.5.
There you go.
That's it.
Good call.
What a great team that Cincinnati group was. I'm serious. They had legit pros on that,
Jerome Ford was on that team.
Sauce Gardner was on that team.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a
got
real
his first
team.
interception yesterday.
On a ball, Mac Jones looked like he was trying to hit him on.
As easy as you could possibly throw. Did you see the Rizzler by Mac Jones?
Yeah, I did. Mac Jones.
Love
Mac Jones is in his own little world.
It's all right. He got me the over yesterday.
He's already got 21 on the ground, Lisi.
Yeah.
Should have altered it.
I did.
25.
Plus 260.
He's definitely getting that.
And
burner.
What were they giving you higher than that?
Get out of there, Sam.
No.
Whoa!
Oof. At least not on FanDuel. FanDuel had I got to look now.
Were they scared of the Ritter?
Well, they only offered alt was only 25 plus, so that's as high as you can go. So plus 230 was the number. Kev.
Plus 230 on 25 plus.
And that's when he already had, I think, he had 3 yards at that particular.
Oh, you jump back in. I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, I don't know. Like look, I'm maybe was too quick to doom and gloom. 2nd and 10 run. No, I wasn't too quick.
Trying to get it in front of the sticks here. Trying to get some nice play.
I can't do this. I've actually learned. I think my actual now dream job is offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
but not to design plays. Like
for the totals.
I'm not even that. It's just like like I'm self-aware. Like I can't design a play, but more so just like I need to be like
the analytic guy.
Yes, an offensive game assistant. Like, hey, listen, 2nd and 10, what should we do? And then I just grab the OC. Don't run it up the middle. Yeah, and then let him call whatever play he wants. You know,
get up the field. Come on. All right.
Yeah, the Bears are getting a lot of pressure here.
Whoa.
Oh, he just missed them.
Now what are they doing? Punting?
No. What do you? No. Yeah. You see, you scare me like that because again, like Antonio Pierce just so concerned. Man, you put this on him though. Bowers makes a play, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bad ball. AOC puts that raid on him, Joe. Driving in there, first down.
So I tell you what, I think I want to take the Raiders on the money line. I think they're going to win this game.
They ain't winning.
Look at Carlson, who has 5 misses this year, 2 against everyone other than the Chiefs, 3 against the Chiefs. They're so good. We'll be right back.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Back at the right here on Pro football today's in-game live on SportsGrid. Joe Lisi, Donnie Rightside, I'm Kevin Walsh here. We now have the Raiders on the board with a 52-yard field goal from Daniel Carlson. Carlson this season is 6 for 7 from 50-plus yards when not playing the Chiefs, and 0 for 3 when playing the Chiefs. And Chiefs fans think that is totally normal. We have a 2-minute drill here for Minnesota, Donnie, where they are trying to add some points, hoping that penalty goes their way.
That has to be defensive holding because there was no flag in the area in the backfield. But again, we're taking a look at all sides on the defense, so they get another play, 12 seconds, 1 or 2 shots to the end zone. But this is second play, Joe. The only thing you can do is not actually take a sack, and he's like, please come sack me in the pocket.
Throw it out of the end zone. Do anything, but do not take the sack to take it 1 out of field goal position or 2 a fumble in terms of that situation. You can't do it. They're keeping the Bears in this game right now, but 12 seconds, they're on the, 15, 14-yard line? Take 1 shot to the end zone with Addison or JJ.
They're right. One of their tackles left the football game, I believe. Is that correct? I'm going to get the
early on. I think he did.
Getting a lot of pressure from the Bears on defense, which is good.
Look at the cushion up top, though. I mean, come on.
You have right now, and they're going to kick this field goal here, a Minnesota team who I don't think is playing anywhere near their best game, and they are shutting out the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
right.
Look, by no means am I going to sit here and tell you that Eberflus is vindicated because obviously since firing Eberflus, it's been even worse, quite frankly. But I think this is the only thing that I've tossed out there. And I feel as if everyone still just expects Ben Johnson's going to get this job. But last year, Donnie, this was the job. Not even close.
Yeah.
I just feel like every time they go out there and play another game, it's like, are you sure you want to tie yourself to this situation?
But it's one of those jobs that as a coach you have to love because you're not coming into an environment that just won 12 games or 11 games a year before. They're on a complete downward trend where you come in and you could say, okay, we win more games than we did last year. Next year, you have a building block. The third year, you're actually making runs at an NFC championship. And I think that can be done in Chicago because they have a lot of money to spend, and also the young quarterback is already there. You're not hoping to get a quarterback in the draft before you actually commit to the football team.
Cannot hire a defensive-minded head coach. They've done that. Lovie Smith and all the others. That's been the Nagy. I mean, Nagy was supposed.
But Ben Johnson is clearly super picky.
Right.
Yes.
Do you think that this is worth balking on if you're Ben Johnson?
Yes, I do. I don't know if it's a great fit for Ben Johnson. I think, honestly, a team, if they fire McDaniel, Ben Johnson would be great in Miami. I really do. That type of offense. Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. You have speed at every position.
Right.
You have, Swift is good. I like Swift, but he's not elite, right? DJ Moore, we can knock around that, but he's not Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, AJ. No. Keenan Allen is aging. Rome Odunze, we have to see how he develops. So, again, is it the ideal situation for Ben Johnson? I don't think so.
And that's just my, there was an idea for some heading into the year. Philly's job could come free. Dallas job could come free. The Philly job's not coming free. Again, Dallas is going to somehow bully themselves into extending McCarthy, which is nuts.
Right.
But I just think if you're Ben Johnson, they pay you, I think, as much as probably they pay any coordinator in football. I'm not sure I'm looking at the Chicago situation going, you know what, I'll keep waiting it out. I don't know. I would consider it, Donnie.
I think it's a good job to have. I really do. Because, again, you're not worried about the quarterback and what you have. And, by the way, the stat that just popped up here, 3 straight football games that the Chicago Bears haven't scored a point in the first half. Not a great look if you're a young offensive coordinator calling the plays here at this point. So that's one thing. But I like buying the downward trend. And also, Ben Johnson does know the division. But at the same time, he is a quirky guy. He had his choice of 1 or 2 jobs last year that he passed on. No, he's going to say, okay, I'm going to leave Detroit to go in conference and play Detroit. It does make it a little bit tougher.
Let me throw another team out there for Ben Johnson. Sure. If it would have happened, if Atlanta misses out on the playoffs, and let's just say they move on from Kirk Cousins. Young quarterback in Penix.
Yep.
You have young talent, Bijan at Tyler Algier. You have 2 big play wide receivers in terms of Drake London. You could develop Michael Penix the way you developed, right, your quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Or even Bobby Slowick for that matter, right? I mean, would it be a perfect fit in terms of that type of situation? Better than Chicago?
Yeah.
I think it would be.
Yeah, I think if you're Atlanta,
I'm just
it'd
saying
be hard to
they
fire
move on.
Morris after 1 year.
It's been done before, though.
Sure has, no doubt. The thing is, whoever you bring in has to be very comfortable with Michael Penix as their guy, and maybe not even being able to go to Penix in year 1.
Yeah.
Because
Gotta keep Cousins around.
I think Cousins still kind of financially, Lisi. I don't know if you can make that move. We don't, again, fully know every job that's going to come available. Does the Jacksonville job come free? And is Trevor Lawrence still tempting for a big-name offensive coordinator? DRS, we talked about this in the college game. Is it tempting to go coach in the AFC South, where you could potentially go in there and make that dent day one? We know how open that Houston isn't unreal this year. They're having a down year, and they still ran away with that division.
No, you're right. But you're also, if you're saying to yourself, Jacksonville, you've already paid your quarterback that high-priced money. We know what that comes along with. Now, we're not saying Shad Khan, the owner's not going to spend more money, but sometimes the appeal is, I get this quarterback on his rookie contract. I can mold this team the way I want to, and if it works out over 3 to 4 years, yes, we're going to pay the quarterback, but we're going to have an instilled franchise where the foundation is there. I just look for the truly bottom teams. I don't think Jacksonville really is that bottom team per se. I think you can get coming on the upswing for the Bears more than you can on the Jaguars. That's all.
Yeah, no. Again, I totally hear what you're saying. But I guess then, Donnie, in that vein, like, would the Giants be more in terms of like a? I mean, you maybe get the first overall selection.
Yeah.
Right?
Big city, marquee franchise, and you do get to rehab that at that point. So
superstar arguably in the building with neighbors already.
Yeah.
Like, that to me was the risk Chicago ran more than anything when they brought Eberflus back was, are you still going to be the belle of the ball?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's going to be the case. We're going to get some halftime lines from Minnesota, Chicago, but we're going to stick with until half Atlanta, Vegas next year on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're back with you right here on Sports Grid. I'm trying to make it happen with you. We don't usually get to do this, so let's try and dive into some potential halftime lines here, fellas. 13-0 with Minnesota leading Chicago, a 15.5-point spread. But before we do that, I actually would love to throw it to you both about the decision the Falcons just made. Donnie, Atlanta on a 4th and 5 from midfield.
No,
could
not
go
midfield.
for it.
Not
Or
midfield.
from
the 37-yard line.
They send out the punt team like it's 2001.
They sent the field. The worst part about it is sometimes you can live and go, okay, we're going to send the offense out there. We're going to run 16 guys in motion and try to get you to, jump off sides. And then most teams at that point will call the timeout and then bring their offense right back out on the field and go, okay, we tried to get you off, but now we're going to go for it. Or you go, I have a kicker in a dome that's made a 58-yarder on the field on the season already, and we're kicking a 55-yarder, 56-yarder right now, and we're not going to go for that. It's pretty crazy how it works out. So now I start to shift, and I needed a touchdown pass out of Kirk Cousins, which I got. Need some other things out of Drake London, not too far away from those numbers. But I say to myself now, I start to root for Vegas because I love when coaches do stupid things and they pay for them and have to answer those questions in the post-game press conference. Like, you have a team on the road. You're not being aggressive. Oh, you must have a rookie quarterback. No. My guy makes about $55 million a year. Oh, you don't have the wide receivers or the tailback. No. We have a first-round draft pick in the backfield, a decent offensive line, and good wide receivers. No, we're going to punt the ball. And last time they did it, Joe, they punted into the end zone.
Yeah, completely gutless coaching by Raheem Morris. Completely gutless team in terms of Atlanta. I've said it all year. Say it again. This team has lost 4 straight. They're playing without a lack of confidence right now, and they're keeping Las Vegas in the game. You have basically a second-year, third-year quarterback in Des Ridder that is inconsistent in the passing attack. His best weapon right now is his legs, and you're afraid to attempt a field goal to give them a short field is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I'm telling you, I've said this. They don't make the playoffs. Don't be shocked. And I know you could say, you can't fire a coach. They did it with Lovie Smith in Houston. They certainly could do it with Raheem Morris right now. They did it with what was his name that took over as well for Lovie Smith in year one before they got their coach. But again,
who was the guy in Arizona got fired? What was it? It was the guy from the Denver's defensive coordinator at one point.
Yeah,
he got fired after 1 year.
And he did well. He was 8-8 against a number. They were competitive.
Vance Joseph?
No.
It was Vance Joseph, wasn't it? Did he get fired after 1 year? No. He went to Carolina as well. Who's the guy that got fired? I can't remember. Somebody out there will know.
And the bottom line is this. It's the Atlanta offense right now. You'd be lucky to get right now 20 points. We'll see what Las Vegas does. Got to get it out of their end zone. But I'm sitting on a 10.5 ticket with the Raiders. I think they're going to win this game. I really do. The way they're coaching right now, coaching not to lose, and more times than not, you lose the game.
Yeah.
So I'm on Caleb Williams over 12.5 rush yards live. I mentioned I wanted to get involved with this. That number, he's currently at
Is that
3.
a safety there? Yeah.
Terrible.
There we go. Raiders.
Maybe
it was the great. Maybe Raheem Morris is way smarter than that.
That's it. Maybe he's smarter than we all think.
I don't think so. Because here's the thing: 2 points is less than 3. That's still not what you needed. Like it doesn't. You're up 6. You did nothing.
Does the total open up? We got 12. What?
My opinion.
We'll see. I still like the Raiders, but I did take Caleb 225 plus a plus 260 for the second half.
You say that again?
Caleb?
Yep.
225 plus for a 260 price.
Okay.
So I think
Steve Wilkes was the name.
That's not who I'm thinking of. The coach in Houston, I'll think of it. That got fired.
No. The special teams coordinator that they basically handed him the job because he worked in the NFL for 25 years and then said, you have no chance to come back, but here's your dream. And it's like, here's $3 million. Now get out of town.
Right before they hired
David Culley?
Culley.
His name? There you go. He used to be an Eagles.
And they were competitive.
Man.
They were 8-8 against the number that year.
That was a good one.
Dave Culley, one and done.
Yeah.
That was a favorite DRS topic of mine. That was prime early line days.
Right.
Because a lot of people were up in arms that they fired him. And Donnie's like, listen, he's not even upset.
No.
Right.
They literally hired the guy. And because, the Donnie backroom conversations that he was there for but wasn't there for. He goes, they sat him down and said, listen, we're going to fire you at the end of the season.
How much you make now? $1 million. We're going to pay you $4 million. Then we're going to fire you. It's like, this is a dream job. Made my dream come true.
He's like, hey, you're messing this up for me, people. Take it easy here. I don't need this. All right, we are running up against the break, though. A safety in Falcons.
For Shador sign. Gotta love that in the background.
Is it Shador holding it up? Let me see. Let me see. Is that Dion holding it up, Donnie? All right,
Maybe
let's
Travis Hunter's girlfriend holding it up. You never know.
We'll be right back with you here. It is In Game Live on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We're back here on
I was in the room.
Chris.
So there.
Hanging out with DRS, Joe's Lisi's. Vikings, Bears about to get underway. I'm ignoring that disaster up there. I can't believe we're operating on that clock. Anybody have any other action they placed? Donnie, what action did you place for the I can't stand you, man. You're only going to place action when you're walking around. Like, you're not even paying.
Yeah, look, it's too hard. Like, games are on live. We just, you can't get in the mix now. You got to have the game settle down. You got to get a non-live look in this game to settle in. The numbers are too fast. We're 17 plays
numbers
behind.
Are too fast.
I'm gonna be like, I like this Algier guy. And all of a sudden, well, they're kicking off already because 7 plays are underway.
Time. Oh, my gosh. It's too good. Lisi, what's
we're
your
already
bet?
out of halftime now.
I bet, I told you, Caleb, 225. I'm thinking about jumping in on the Atlanta total, 36.5.
Stop talking about that. Stop talking about that. You're going to bet it and forget it, and that's that. You in or out right now?
Now that at 36.5.
Are you in? Are you in?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in now.
Okay.
I got to
Wait, are you jumping in now?
Yeah, exactly.
36.5?
I mean, I don't know. I can't keep up. Are you betting it?
Yeah.
At 36.5.
Correct.
Or you want it to drop
18.
lower?
What?
Or you want it to drop lower?
No, I don't think we'll get it lower, to be honest with you. But I'm on the Raiders plus the 10.5 as well. So
currently 12.5. Yeah. You ready for this?
Go.
77-1 Bears Raiders money line parlay. Any bite?
Oh no.
No way. No shot. No shot.
Which who has a better chance?
Whoa.
I need a
water
break
right there.
Come
on.
I can't.
Back him up.
I can't. I don't know.
Look at this guy, Joe. He doesn't clear. Werner.
Oh,
Look at this guy.
I can't tonight.
That's the whole game in a nutshell right now. Man, left his
Reese.
feet like I'm about to make a big play, and they're like, yeah, brother, you're not making
all right.
a big play.
Okay. Okay. Wrap them up.
What do we got with Sammy D down there?
Oh.
Ooh, hey.
All right. On that total, too. Dead to rights right now with everything. Whoa.
Touchdowns. Come on now.
I think we'll get juice in the second half of these.
Wait, what is he looking at on this ball? An interception?
Wanted to fit it into Hawkinson. There you go.
Spread it around. Spread the wealth.
12.5. You don't like the Raiders with 12.5?
No.
Huh?
You could give me 22.5, and I don't like the Raiders.
All right.
Better chance to come back and win as a dog right
Raiders.
now, Donnie.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah, now we are talking. Yeah, like 3 field goals by the Raiders makes sense. I don't even know if we get 3 positive plays for
Not
the Bears.
sure, though, that Raiders defense hasn't been all that bad right now, and Kirk Cousins still looks terrible.
So does Sam Darnold down there, by the way.
Oh.
He's looking to get sacked now.
Oh, man.
This is these are tough games, man. They really are. Like, I'm actually sitting, like, not too bad right now, which is amazing, the way these games are playing out.
Yeah.
See, these guys never played football before.
Can you, Donnie, re-rack your parlays for me?
Yeah.
Just give me an idea where things stand,
All right,
what we
let's go.
need.
Here's what we got. Parlays tonight. Bijan to score a touchdown. Drake London to get 50 yards. He's actually, I think, 48 or 49. And Algier to get 20 rushing yards. That was one that took it a plus 190, boosted it up. So that was a little bit more of a shot, per se.
Yeah.
The other ones I have, Drake London to get 40 yards receiving, which he's got that. Addison to get 25 yards receiving, which he has that. Ray McLeod to get 25 or more yards, which I think he has like 14 yards maybe, or 9 yards at this point. What does he have?
Ray's got 1 for 14.
1 for 14, okay. So we need 11 yards there. And then I have Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns, paired up with Kirk Cousins, 1 touchdown. So I'm in good shape in a lot of these parlays and horrible plays happening. So I feel fortunate right now.
So you'll take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Minnesota, Lisi, 3 and out, essentially. A terrible opening for them. The number's now 13.5 minus 130 for the Bears, getting the football back.
Right.
You know, I don't know, like, I'm not running to grab the 13.5 because I still don't feel the sevens are dead. I mean, I'm tempted, don't get me wrong, but I'm not, I don't know, like, the Vikings are giving this team a lot of life to find something, and the Bears have not been useless. They have not been opportunistic so far.
No, they haven't. But I think as this game plays out, I have more confidence in Minnesota to win the game.
Sure.
Than, maybe not cover. But I'm still not worried about that. I mean, I want to see what Chicago does here because if they do score, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, I think this game can open up still. I think when you look at the other game, I'm inclined to really I'm invested on the Raiders. I really think that from, just a defensive perspective and when I see them, it's going to be ugly. But I think there's a shot if you get 1 or 2 big plays, somehow, some way, whether it be Ritter on the ground with his legs or hitting Brock Bowers somewhere in the passing, that they can win this game.
Right.
You have Brock Bowers. I mean, the problem is running back because they're listing Madison as the best running back price for the Raiders right now, anytime touchdown. At plus 460.
Did he get injured? Is he back?
He did get injured. That's what I'm saying.
I
don't know his availability. So you got Jacoby Myers, Bowers, and then Madison, and then you have to scroll down for anybody for a running back of the Raiders outside of maybe Des Ritter. So, I want to take a shot. Brock Bowers at plus 380, anytime touchdown, to me, I think has some value. But again, I'm still willing at the price to maybe take a shot on the Raiders' money line.
All right. So let me see then what you could get out of Ritter live right now. So it's locked.
What, passing or rushing?
Yeah, just passing. Anything.
You
Why
can
is
take
everything
his
locked?
rushing. They now have alts up. You could take it as high as 60 if you want.
Yeah.
That's what they have listed.
40 more yards.
They have Ritter 60. You want to take it up to 80? You got 14-1. 60 will get you 410, 70 plus 750. He's got 22 yards on the ground. The longer this game stays close, he's going to look to take the game over some way. And if he can't do it through the passing attack, maybe he gets an open lane and maybe he busts it. So, I mean, what realistically 50, 60, I would say?
Yeah, I mean, you've got a critical drive here when we think about just the, props, right? Like a 2-minute drill with, 80-plus yards in front of you. Now, I know that's asking a lot, but look, the Raiders have 3 points. I'm not trying to tell you they've played well.
Yeah.
But I think to try and put this into perspective, the passing offense for this team, at least they've completed their passes. They've not been able to complete deep shots or anything of that nature, but they have taken a few of those chances, Lisi. So still, I do think it's a situation that doesn't take much to be able to connect and knock it down.
And their defense, even though they've given up yards between the 30s, they've really buckled up in terms of red zone opportunities and holding Atlanta to field goals for the most part down over the last couple of drives. So, again, if they're going to play like that and not just give up, I think they're going to be in the game. Again, whether they pull it out, you're getting 10-1, though. I mean, with a quarterback that potentially and a team that could implode right now. The longer this game plays into the third, Las Vegas is loose. They're at home, right? Atlanta's tight. They need this game.
They do need the game. I think that's
here's an interesting part, too, where the Falcons don't call their final timeout. The Raiders, we have no chance at scoring, so hopefully we get a first down to take this into the half. They're not – 3rd and 1, you should be actually going here. And they're like, you know what? We don't know if we can even put together 2 first downs. That's terrible.
I hear what you're saying. I think that's one of those spots where you are now worried about Atlanta. It's going to be a lot to drive the length of the field, but you're
oh, got a good spot.
Oh, wow. Oh. That's a Donnie spot.
Yeah.
DRS
now look
out
at this
there.
clock.
Yeah,
look at
now
the clock
you got to be moving. No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, they don't care.
Couldn't agree more. And that's pathetic.
Yep.
You're 2-11.
That's a bad offense. As Joe points out, Atlanta's tight. The Raiders are resigned to saying our offense is so bad we have 0 chance to get in the field goal range here.
But to the point, Donnie, it's not just.
Look at that.
All right.
Why are you still throwing?
And look, I love
idiots.
this, and that's what I like even more.
So
that's what I like even more. You wasted all of that time now.
All right, you're going to get your halftime show with Tom Vecchio on the other side of this break, recapping everything from Vegas and Atlanta next.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at
Rams right down to the wire. The Cardinals are the top spot at the moment. That's not going to hold. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are not going to win this division, but they are 5-4. After that, you've got the Rams, the Niners, each 4-4. The Niners, God willing, man. I mean, if Christian McCaffrey ever does come back.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions. Once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
What's going on, and welcome to Pro Football Today, halftime show for Monday Night Football doubleheader. We just had the Raiders-Falcons go to halftime. That game is 9-3 because of the safety. We have the Bears and the Vikings already in the third quarter. Vikings were up 13-0 in that game. A lot to get to. Over these first two halves of these games, obviously with the Vikings in the third quarter already. We have seen basically nothing from the Raiders on offense, and that's kind of what we were talking about in the pregame show. Very, very low expectations for them overall. So let's jump to that game. Right now, we're dealing with a 31.5 live over-under. The Falcons are 9.5-point favorites on the live spread. They do get the ball coming out of halftime. For the other game, it is a 30.5 over-under with minus 130 juice on the under. It is a 13.5-point spread in favor of the Vikings. I believe we're about to see the Bears punt the ball now. So this is kind of what we spoke about on the pregame show, where we're expecting offenses to score, but it's mainly coming from these two teams with the Falcons and with the Vikings, respectively, of course. Let's run through some things because we have seen some up and down football. Let's just call it what it is. We've seen the Vikings move the ball for the most part, get the passing touchdown to Justin Jefferson. He gets the first touchdown of the game. Sam Darnold's up at 150 yards and the one passing touchdown. Jordan Addison has had a very solid game, 6 catches for 58 yards. Hawkinson's at 3 for 35. A little bit of running game on the ground with Aaron Jones going 7 of 29. Basically nothing on the other side. Caleb Williams has 93 yards in the third quarter. Keenan Allen, the main guy, with 3 catches for 35 yards. On the other game, jumping back and forth, like I said, not much going for the Raiders. Sincere McCormick, one of their running backs that has seen some work over the past few weeks, he is questionable to return. Brock Bowers finally caught a long ball up at 22 yards. He's now 3 catches for 35 yards. Some bad play out of Kirk Cousins. He obviously looks uneasy in the pocket, whatever you want to call it. He's obviously not moving super well. Bijan Robinson, great game on the ground, at least in the first half, 10 carries for 58 yards. That's probably their path to in the second half, path to their offense, path to moving the ball. But most importantly, for what I spoke about on the pregame show, Drake London having a big game, 2 catches, 48 yards, and the 1 touchdown. He's well on his way to going over 64.5 receiving yards. He cashes in on the touchdown. So it was primary receivers from the 2 offenses that we were expecting to score, Drake London and Justin Jefferson, both coming away with the first touchdowns. I would expect Robinson to continue to play a big role in that game. Let's just take a live look at his rushing prop right now, which is sitting up at 105.5. That's certainly high. He's obviously got 58 in the first half. It just jumped up to 107, minus 113 on the over. It's what we should be expecting from the Raiders. If we are not seeing anything threatening, essentially, it's what we should be expecting from the Falcons. It's what we should be expecting from the Raiders on offense, which is really driving the Robinson prop, which is if the Raiders aren't going to be able to do anything on offense, they're not going to be a threat on offense, the Falcons can just play this as simple and as straightforward and as possible. I think they mentioned on the broadcast, they just need to come away with the win, right? Whether Kirk Cousins has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, that really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they are better compared to the Raiders. And that's what we spoke about on the pregame show. Do I want to lay 5.5 with the Falcons? No, that's not what I want to do. They've been completely inconsistent, especially over the past 4 weeks. But now that they have the lead, now that they have the ball, and they're getting the ball coming out of halftime, this is a spot where Bijan Robinson really should be pushing towards 20 carries and 100 yards. Whether he hits there exactly, I would say comes down to the Raiders on offense, because ultimately I wouldn't be surprised to see Tyler Algier continue to get work, especially if we get into that fourth quarter. If the Falcons, they go out and they score, I don't know, let's just call it 10 points, like a touchdown, a field goal in the third quarter, maybe the Raiders come away with a field goal. We're going to be looking at a game that's 19-6, 19-3. At a certain point, you don't need Bijan Robinson out there. So this is the same thing I said last night on the halftime show for the Packers game, talking about Josh Jacobs, his live line. Granted, it was up at 125.5. It's a little bit different when we're sitting at 105 or 107. At a certain point, they didn't need to have Josh Jacobs on the field last night, especially after Geno Smith got hurt and Sam Howell came into play. That's kind of the feel that I have for Bijan Robinson, where he could very easily get to 100 yards, but do they need him out there? So I'd be a little hesitant on that. We are seeing the Vikings drive down the field right now. Incomplete pass to Johnny Munt, completed pass to Justin Jefferson for 7 yards, another incomplete pass to Justin Jefferson. I think the Vikings are going to be punting him a little bit behind here on this stream. For that game, again, 13-0 in favor of the Vikings. We still see the live total sitting at 30.5, minus 118 on the over. It is now dropped to a 12.5 point spread. Not that that's too much of a change with the 13, but not expecting too much out of the Bears overall. Let's just take a look at some of the Bears live props right now. Keenan Allen would be the player I would trust the most, at least as of now. He's got 35 yards. His live line is sitting at 58.5. What's Caleb Williams' passing prop sitting? It's sitting at 217, and he's got 93 yards right now. Not a whole lot of interest there. As for the Raiders and the Falcons, I think I have some interest in taking Kirk Cousins under 193.5 passing yards. He's sitting at an 84 right now through the first half. He's 7 of 9. So simply just based on the volume of plays, it's not like he's out there throwing the ball, 20 some odd times. They haven't been sustaining drives. And again, at the end of the day, if the Raiders offense isn't able to do anything, does Kirk Cousins need to pass? This has already dropped to 189. Haven't been able to get this in at under 193. Do the Falcons need to pass the ball? That's really my main question. Because if they don't need to pass the ball, there is some correlation between taking under Kirk Cousins over Bijan Robinson or maybe over Tyler Algier, who's sitting at 15.5, and he's already got 2 yards. I may have interest in under on Kirk Cousins and over on Tyler Algier, 15.5 rushing yards. We do see him play a good role. Is he effective tonight with the 4 carries for the 2 yards? No, but throughout the season, we have seen Tyler Algier play a big role for the Falcons at times, and especially if they're going to ease off on Robinson just because they don't need him out there late in the fourth. Tyler Algier will be playing a big role. So we're coming up against a break right now. I'm not sure if I'll be back on the other side. If not, In-Game Live will take back over for the doubleheader Monday night game. Bears, I will be coming back. Vikings just punted. It is 13-0. Bears are getting the ball. Let's see what they can do on offense. Falcons, Raiders still at halftime, 9-3 now. And I'll see you guys on the other side of this break.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all
people. You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
Yeah, this is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
What's going on, and welcome back to Pro Football Today. Halftime show, Monday night doubleheader, Bears-Vikings. Bears are driving the ball. They're approaching the red zone. We have the Falcons and the Raiders. It is still 13-0 in favor of the Vikings. It is 9-3 in favor of the Falcons. I just jumped in on under what it dropped to 187.5 passing yards for Kirk Cousins. He's sitting at 84 in the first half. I am not expecting much from the Raiders offense at all, and thus the Falcons will not have to pass the ball. They will be in control of the entire game, and we will see plenty of production from both Robinson and Tyler Algier as the game goes on. We have seen, the safety for the Raiders. We're seeing even if the Falcons aren't efficient on offense, which is something that we kind of discussed on the pregame show, where we have no interest in essentially laying the 5.5 points with the Falcons. But at a certain point, even if they're not efficient on offense, they're just going to punt the ball. And then the Raiders can't move the ball on offense when Desmond Ridder at the helm and they have a banged up running back room. And despite the fact that Brock Bowers is literally breaking records as a tight end, we know what the Falcons defense can at least, divert extra resources to covering Brock Bowers. So under 187.5 passing yards for Kirk Cousins. Would I like to see him still get a few extra yards going to Drake London coming out of halftime, get him going? Sure, I'd love to see him at over 64.5. That'd be awesome to see. The Bears continue to move the ball down the field. Another 17-yard run for DeAndre Swift. He is now up to 13 carries for 43 yards as they are literally right at the goal line. You would like to see them punch this in, make this somewhat of a competitive game, force the Vikings to continue to push things on offense. As Swift does get in there, it looks like we have a touchdown for DeAndre Swift. So we have a 13-6 game now, and maybe 13-7 if the Bears can hit field goals and or extra points. This jumps the line to 7.5 spread in favor of the Vikings. Obviously, it is juice minus 120 for the Bears. The live total jumps to 36.5. So seeing some offense in that game for Atlanta and the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, they're coming out of that. Let's see what the receiving prop live line is for Drake London. It's sitting up at 76.5. That's good to see when he already has 48. Hopefully we're going to get some more of those yards. He can break through 64.5 and break through 70, as I spoke about on the pregame show. This has to be a big Drake London and essentially Bijan Robinson game. Again, super straightforward for them overall. So we get the rushing touchdown from DeAndre Swift. He's now up to, 14 carries for 61 yards or 60 yards and the touchdown. Or did that get called back? So it's first and goal, excuse me. I'm a little bit delayed here. First and goal on the 6-yard line. And now the Bears still have the ball. So it is not 13-6 or 13-7. It's still 13-0. And the live line is now 33.5 as the Bears are maybe able to score as they get back down to the 1-yard line. So 2 games going, or at least 1 game going right now, another game coming out of halftime for the Raiders and the Falcons. I have to say, when it comes to Raiders props, there's not too much intriguing outside of Jacoby Myers over 29.5 receiving yards. Now, through the first half, he doesn't even have 1 target. The only targets have gone to Brock Bowers, Sincere McCormick, Amir Abdullah, and Michael Mayer. You would like to think that Jacoby Myers, who, again, as Adam mentioned on the pregame show, great target share within the Raiders' passing offense, especially after Devontae Adams has been traded. He can get this done in 1 or 2 catches, given his propensity to get down the field with a solid A-dot. So Myers over 29.5. If you are backing the Raiders, that would be the route to go. I think Brock Bowers' line at 67.5 is certainly fine, but Jacoby Myers could be an option if you are looking to jump in game. You don't have any action on this. Maybe you have some action on the Falcons side of things, whatever it might be. Jacoby Myers does look like a good option at 29.5. Now, it is, I would say, on the riskier side of things, despite it just being something he can get done in 1 or 2 catches. But if there's a path to Raiders getting back in this game, it does not appear to be on the ground game. Especially since you have to get an update on him if he's able to come back at halftime. Madison went for four carries for 5 yards. Amir Abdullah was 2 of 4. So it might be through the air for the Raiders moving the ball if they're going to have any success on offense as the Bears continue to push inside the 5-yard line. They have another penalty. They're backed up outside the 10 to try and score. So 2 games going on. In-game live will take things back over. After both of these games conclude, I will be back for the post-game show, recapping all these games, also giving a look at some of the lines for the upcoming week. We are crunch time for the NFL, playoff picture, futures, you name it. We can cover all of that on the post-game show, but throwing it right now back to in-game live with Kevin, Donnie, and Joe. You guys take it away. Great 2 games closing out in the second half.